Was I singled out for this?
Yes.
folk composition, which, because I'm dyslexic, I originally thought it said homophobic forms of music, which would be like, actually probably better than this book is. This book is the driest book. It's from 1875, it's quite old. I'm going to do a little extract for you right now.
This cadence, it is true, cannot be called heavier than the one in the fourth measure. Nevertheless, it serves its purpose sufficiently well. The construction of the second period is here again extremely parallel, almost to the cadence, but compare with example 49 and observe that the parallel double period differs from the repeated period in the differentiation of its second and fourth cadences. See also Beethoven, Sonata Opus 22, Finale, first 18 measures, and Chopin, Preludes Opus 28, number 7, number 10, phrase 3, sequence of phrase 1, phrase 4, like 2, accepting cadence, slight cadence extension, number 14, phrase 2, extended to 6 measures, phrase 4, only 3 measures, codetta 3 measures, number 23, phrase 4, extended to 5 measures, codetta 6 measures, beginning after or with an elison. Number 17, first 18 measures, number 19, first 16 measures. It then goes on to detail about two paragraphs worth of that. The contrasting construction, 39c, of the second period in the double period form is far more unusual and confusing than the parallel construction because when the third phrase does not melodically conform to the first one, it is much more difficult to preserve the cohesion of the two periods demanded in paragraph 62, and to prevent the impression of two separate independent periods as in the two-part song form, see paragraph 74.
This is everything you will ever need to know about music.
Why me now?
And then this is a really important book, and this kind of brings me to folk music. And I think that book there is quite implicitly about a hierarchy of music, where you kind of have these great composers who are there on their own, having their amazing, wonderful thoughts, their incredible lives that we want to study, apparently, and find out how they could possibly have made this, what their genius is, and then dissect it into all these parts. Kind of implicit in it is a hierarchy that these are the important musicians, and we should find out how they did their amazing works. This is an interesting revision, and I'm going to get really geeky now. This is an interesting revision of Child's popular ballads. Child was a 19th century academic who recorded lots and lots of written verses of folk songs. And this is a guy in the 70s who went and collected all the tunes because it was the most useful collection of folk songs ever, and it didn't have any of the tunes. So this guy has then gone and collected all the tunes, and it's like adding voice back to the words that were being academically studied. I'm going to do some really bad sight singing now. Oh, and I think I'm going to need this. Separate independent periods as in the two-part song form. See paragraph 74. This cadence, it is true, cannot be called heavier than the one in the fourth measure. Nevertheless, it serves its purpose sufficiently well. The construction of the second period is here again extremely parallel, almost to the cadence, but compared with example 49 and observe the parallels of the period differs from the repeated period in no derivation of the second and fourth cadences. We also later stanza opus 22 finale first 18 numbers by Chopin. Preludes opus 28 number 7 number 2 phrase 3 sequence phrase 1 phrase 4 lines for the accented cadence slight cadence extension number 14 phrase 2 extended 6 measures phrase 4 over 3 measures codetta 3 measures number 23 phrase 4 extended to 5 measures codetta 6 measures beginning after or with an elison. Number 17 for 18 measures, number 19. What's nice about this is it's still got all this kind of dissecting writing, and there's still a hierarchy in this. There's a hierarchy in folk music. What's older? What's the most interesting or unusual version? What's the most commonly sung version? How far around the world did it travel? So you get things like this. This ballad, based on materials common to medieval romance, and preserved in a fairly full but yet fragmentary form in the Percy folio, has been demonstrably current in Scottish oral tradition within the past 2 centuries. The 2 Scottish copies were not regarded as of equal authenticity, either with each other or with the folio copy. Child thought Buchan's an obvious manufacture, quote, "We may doubt whether it was ever sung or said," and thought Mrs. Harris's most likely put together by someone who was imperfectly acquainted with a copy in the Reliques, the last being a literary remaking by Percy out of hints in the folio ballad. Child's relegation of the Harris and Buchan copies to an appendix deserves to be examined for its latent implications. So again, it's kind of this little world of how into the music, how much can you take it apart. One of the reasons why I really like folk music though is because of the possibility, and I think I've got a folk music thing here somewhere. Ah yes. The body is as important as the battle. Because all they care about in a way is like how old it is and how well known the song is. If you've got a very well known song and it's about sex and it's quite explicit and it's been sung quite a lot, then that's important in their hierarchy, which is quite interesting because a lot of these things were kind of edited out. So technically, like if it's travelled and if it's interesting, a song can be about anything at all. There's some really gross ones actually. There's like a Burns kind of version of things about women crapping themselves, that kind of thing, like really inelegant things, but they're not as interested in inelegance as just how well known the song is, where it was sung, and why. Come in. Have a seat. The other thing is, in folk music, something that's really important to me is you can stop and cough in the middle of a song and still be a good singer. People are just interested in the storytelling, and you can just kind of stop and cough or sneeze or change your key because it's too high in the middle of a song, and that's fine. That's within the tradition, that's okay. People are understanding of that. Taking credit is bogus. If people are like, I discovered this song, then they can't possibly be doing like folk music because you've got to have listened to it from other people. You're kind of the way of proving your authenticity in folk music is to talk about all the other people who've sung the song and where you've got all your influences from. So you almost never own anything that you're doing. And of course, loads of people don't think these things about folk music, and there's conflicting approaches which are part of the tradition and have always been. So it's almost traditional to have people that are like, well, ballads are more important than the other songs, and we don't want to hear your nasty body songs. And then it's traditional for some people to think that singing vocally unaccompanied is better than instrumental music and stuff, and they all take place in one room and they all kind of disagree, but they make music anyway, which is quite nice about folk music. So I'll do a wee folky thing right now, which is this book, 101 Scottish Songs. This is really lovely. It was given to me by my friend Terry, who's I think he's in his 70s, and he really loves it when I sing Scottish songs for him. And I'll sing this one. As I was walking all the way, I heard Corby's magna made. The take and take the tenor say, oh, war so we gang and dine the day, war so we gang and dine the day. Sin I in John of Phildai, I want there lies a new slave night, but nobody kens that he lies there, oh, but his hawk and his hound and his lady fair, oh, his hawk and his hound and his lady fair. And then the song goes on, actually it's based on, this is not really a folk song at all, it's based on an ancient Breton folk tune, and it's a kind of rewriting by R.M. Blytheman. So it sounds very folky and stuff, but it's not, it's written by someone, so it's not necessarily, you won't listen. You do. Nicely gone. Okay. But that's not what I really wanted to do today. Like I wanted to tell you a bit about that kind of stuff. But I kind of wanted to not perform. I kind of wanted to not perform at all. Because I think I'm starting to believe that feeling like I'm performing is kind of bullshit. Feeling like I don't think I've got something to say that's more important than what anybody else in this room has to say. And I think that the one person and the weird exchange of responsibility there, while I enjoy doing it, it's not really for me. So I'm going to be changing my artistic practice from being Caroline Pugh, the improviser and folk person who does stuff. I'm going to be joining an anonymous collective that if anybody else wants to join, you can. Because I think having the name, having the temptation of a name and a face to the music, it takes away from what I really want to do. So I'm not trying to be slick here today. I'm not trying to do something that's spectacular. I just want to share a lot of the things I've been thinking, and there's too many things to share. However, what would be nice if you wanted to join me in a perspective breathing meditation exercise that I often do. Yes, yes, yes. Or you can not. We've got pens and paper if you want to do some drawing. Anybody want to do some drawing while we're meditating? Or you can wander around and read the things. And anybody who does want to meditate with me can sit comfortably and close their eyes. So, feel comfortable. I do this with my singing students all the time. Take a few deep breaths, like maybe 3 of them. Okay. Now I'd like you, if you're going to join me, become aware of the limits of your body, wherever you think that is, whether you think it stops at your skin or your aura, if you want to get a bit more woo. Wherever your mind thinks that your body ends, be aware of that boundary. And be aware of that boundary on the in-breath and the out-breath. So one breath, be aware of the boundary of your body. And breathe normally. And become aware of the room. And just focusing on yourself in the room and the other people as well. Take one deep breath in and out, being as aware of the room, your mental conception of the room, as you possibly can. Breathe normally. Think about this area of time, whatever your mental conception is of that. Become aware of where it's situated. And then breathe sound of joining in, and like the decisions made to join in. Hopefully you didn't all feel like you had to make that sound, and that you didn't do it if you didn't want to, but which was a part that I forgot to mention there. But what's particularly wonderful about folk music is when people come along and they really feel like they have to contribute something. And I used to try and create that when I did performances, but folk music kind of already exists and already does that quite well. Anyway, I'm gonna do I have time? What time? No. Over? Very over.
Not very good.
Just a little bit. Okay. In that case, I'm just going to finish with just like a very, very short thing. It'll take like a minute. It's a cry for help. Okay, so we're going to have a changeover next. Like a little bit of appreciation for Barry and Lynn, first of all. Thank you all for coming along to the first one of this lovely day. And if you can all file out, you'll hear some more stuff going on in the speaker outside. And the next person will set up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to Caroline for the performance as well as the introduction.
I'm messing with the system.
Yeah, it's working. So yeah, welcome to our last day of the festival. So it was Caroline Pugh with her wonderful topic, and yes, it was wonderful. Thank you very much. And we'll have a short change of the setup, as she mentioned, 5 minutes ish. So we will welcome you back in a bit then. Thank you.
Thank you.